Isaac, Isaiah earlier. Okay. So we actually have had 2 more welcome cards. So we're at 72. So we need 3 welcome cards, and then it's high school photos. You guys, Alan's is so good. What? I don't think you count. Alan's high school photo is so good. He looks like a little thug. He's like sitting like this.
Is that okay?
He looks like he's in a gang. It's really good, you guys. And then after that, we're still figuring out, but let me tell you, 80 is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited. We're still kind of finalizing, but it's going to be amazing. Let's see. September 16th, we're going to Flowrider. Dylan, this is literally your only job. Okay, September 16th, that is a Saturday, 7 to 9, we are going to Flowrider. Who's been to Flowrider before? Wow, see, none of you have been, so you should go with us for free. 2 hours, we're surfing. Hello, good to see you. Tell me your name. Hi, guys, this is Faith. Hi, Faith. Guys, everybody say hi to Faith. Faith, have you ever filled out a welcome card here? Get the woman a welcome card. All right, guys, 75 high school photos. That's 73. 2 more. Harry, do you know anybody you could invite? You know one person. Positive you know one person. Isaac, you know someone you could invite? All right, whatever. Okay, September 10th, we are kicking back off small groups. What do we pay you for, Dylan? Okay, September 10th, we are kicking off small groups here, 6:30 to 8. Does that sound right? Snack, game, small group. Has anyone ever been to a small groups here? Raise your hand. Are they the best or what? They're the best. You can go. So hopefully we see you here on September 10th. Also on September 10th, guys, this is going to be so cool. On September 10th, we are doing a question and answer service. Da-da-da-da. Thank you. I did that myself.
Did you do that like after service?
No, I did it before. I just forgot to put it in before first service. Just a little peek behind the curtain. I don't know. I just I just searched a Greek statue. Because it before was like a little peek behind the curtain. The template had a line drawing. And I was like, yes, I love Canva. But I decided I wanted a different one, so I picked that one. Just a little bird's eye view into my graphic design knowledge. It's all Canva. September 10th. Thank you for joining me on that tangent. September 10th, question and answer service. Here's the thing, you guys. Your questions, I know it is an easy thing to say, are actually really important to us. We care about your stumbling blocks. We care about your faith journey, and we want to answer your questions. So, DM your questions to the Students at the Heights Instagram page, and we will answer them in service. Instead of a message, we're just going to have a panel of leaders, and we're going to answer your questions. And they could literally be questions about anything. They could be doctrinal questions. They could be personal questions. I think last time we did this, we had both, what does the Bible say about abortion, and why are smoothies so good? I'll answer all the questions. Hi, tell us your name. Connor? Good to what? Carter. Good to see you, Carter. Carter, have you ever filled out a welcome card? Yeah. All right. Well, we're still really glad to have you, Carter. Carter, we're working towards 75 welcome cards, and then we're releasing the leaders' high school photos. And I want this so bad. Guys, I gathered the high school photos 6 months ago, and I've just been sitting on them waiting to show you Jim in a puka shell necklace, Josh with a faux hawk. You guys, I've been waiting for so long to show you Bethany's homecoming photo. They're so good. Okay, we have the landing every Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30 here. Every Tuesday night, rain or shine, holidays, we're here. If you came prepared to worship God with an offering, hi, September, that goes on the black box, in the black box on the wall, out in the cafe. If If you have a prayer request, scan the QR code. We would love to pray for you. I think that's everything, unless there's something else. Ah! That's not even the first time I've been hurt by a student today. Guys, why? What is happening today? All right, let's do the impossible shot, I guess. Pick a number between 1 and 4.
That would be 2.
Okay. Second row. That's Penelope's seat. Second row, if you've never done the impossible shot and you would like to try, fill in the second row. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
It's 8.
Kellen, have you done it? Gracie, have you done it? No, you can't. Gracie, come up. Okay, come on, Gracie's gonna do the impossible shot. Here you go. Daphne, did you know Charlie won this? Okay. You see the two, and then they go there, and then you. I don't know. Does that look right, you guys? I think that's backwards. And then, I don't know. You right-handed or left? This is the best part of the impossible shot, is the 12 seconds it takes someone to figure out how to use the bow. Yeah. All right, Gracie gets 3 shots to make it through that target. She's not going to, but we're going to try anyway. And why isn't she? Because... Okay, go ahead. Yeah, respect the drip, for real. She's got the Vans Old Schools. All right, come on, last shot. Ooh, somehow worse than Paige first service. All right, spin the wheel. Gracie, spin the wheel. You know what to do. Spam, 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 spam. That's my favorite part of the week. Ooh. Free smoothie. All right, you guys, let's get ready to worship. Everybody stand up and step into the aisles. Fill in this space in the front. Bodie, come on up. Bodie, over there though. Come on up, Christian. What is happening today? All right, everybody come on up, come on up. Charlie, Daphne, Gage, David. Okay, oh my.
Irrelevant. Sorry. Okay. So the first song we're playing is No One. So if you guys are at Hume, you guys should know that song. If you guys want to sing along, go ahead. It's the Yahweh, Yahweh. Sing along, and we can worship our God. the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, 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 oh.
I need one of you strapping in to move this table for me. Watch, I'll try. Thank you, Dylan. Jeez, I thought Gavin was doing that. Look at this guy. What a guy. Give it up for Dylan. High school intern.
High school intern, yes.
Do you know that song, Unpaid Intern? Anyway, moving on. Good morning, everybody. So good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad you're here because I have a word for you today. So important, so valuable. I truly hope that it is effective for you. We're going to jump just directly in. We're in 1 Peter chapter 4. If you have a Bible app, if you have a paper Bible, I would highly suggest you open it up because we have no slides today, just none. So if you want to follow along, open your Bible app. And you know what? I'm going to talk for a while, so there's even time for you to download the Bible app if you don't have it. Let's see. I'll wait. Just kidding. All right, let's jump right into 1 Peter 4, verses 1 through 2, just right at the beginning. Since therefore Christ suffered in the flesh, arm yourselves with the same way of thinking. For whoever has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, so as to live for the rest of the time in the flesh no longer for human passions, but for the will of God. So here's my first question to you. What is our reaction towards suffering? Oftentimes, what is our reaction to the hard things in our life? What do you think? Harry, what do you think? What is our reaction to suffering? Frustration, totally. Yeah. Faith? Sorrow, yes. Pain, yeah. What are some action responses? Like, what do we do when we face suffering? Yeah. Yes. Maybe rage. What do you think, Brandon? Brandon doesn't know. Gracie? Take it out on other people? Yeah, absolutely. What is our reaction toward God when we face suffering? Anger, yeah, absolutely. What kinds of things do we frame as suffering? What kinds of things do we face in our life that we frame as suffering? Yeah, Michaela. Hassles, totally. What do you think, September? What kind of things do we frame as suffering? Totally, 100%. When in my travels, as we talk one-on-one in different forms of counseling, maybe at the landing, maybe just in our conversations, I hear a lot of the same things. A lot of different things come up, but by and large, across the high school demographic, there's a lot of the same things. Depression, anxiety, conflict with your parents, conflicts with friends, school, the stress that it entails, how much is heaped on top of you, the workload, the desire for perfectionism, what others think about you, those kinds of things really become framed as trials in our minds. And there's nothing, I would say, wrong with that. Suffering and trials are whatever you perceive to be difficult in your life. But I want to talk about how we react to it, how we deal with it. What this passage is saying is that as Christians, we should basically expect suffering. We should basically expect to face difficult things. We should expect in this life for there to be hard things. And if we follow Christ, one thing we can draw from his life, I don't know if you know this, is that he suffered enormously. He went through so many hard things. Not even just like as a result of being the Messiah. Like, yeah, those hard things, the whole like paying for our sins deal and leading his ministry. But also just like normal human earthly suffering, hunger and thirst and pain and sorrow and, friends dying, persecution socially. Like, he faced hard things. And we are told to face those things the same way he did. We follow him and we learn that his suffering was enormously a part of his mission on earth. It was part of his purpose, part of why he came here and what he came to do. And we are told we should arm ourselves with the same attitude toward our suffering that he had. And what was that attitude? That mindset of purposefulness, that it was built into his mission on earth. And that he expected it, right? He expected life would be difficult. He expected that he would face hard things. And as a result, he was not surprised when hardship came. And he didn't try to run from it. which I think is really common for us, right? Like something bad happens and we're like, oh dang, what? In the precedent up till now has been that life has been perfect. Crazy that something bad would happen now. Like, no. We get so surprised when bad things happen, but it's like the fabric of our world is bad things happening. And then a lot of times we try to escape it, but like, we're not going anywhere and neither is it. So, Jesus' understanding was to expect suffering and that it was a part of his purpose. But how? Like, what was his purpose and what did suffering have to do with it? First of all, he understood that his suffering as God incarnate, as the Word made flesh and dwelling among us, suffering helped him know us better. Suffering helped him understand us, helped him relate to us. Like if we have this picture of God just up in heaven and he's perfect and nothing bad ever happens to him, how could he understand what I go through? So he did. He went through what we went through to better relate to us, to understand us, to show us compassion and empathy. And he understood that suffering allowed him to show love for us by subjecting himself to difficult things. Like, how often do we subject ourselves to hard things? If we do, it's like not on purpose. It's, maybe we know something is going to hurt us, but we do it anyway, not because we want to be hurt. Like, nobody wakes up in the morning and they're like, today I'd like to have a terrible day. I'd like everything to go wrong, and I'd like to really just have something awful and traumatic happen. No, we don't subject ourselves to suffering, but God did. In the form of Jesus, he came to earth to go through difficult things, to show love for us, and ultimately to save us. Through his suffering, he saved us. That is how he understood suffering and hardship to be a part of his mission. And really, man, the bottom line is that as Christians, if we are not prepared to suffer, not only as Christ did, but for Christ, then we will be surprised when difficult things come. I'm so incredibly aware that Jessica's taking pictures right now. I was fine. We're even live streaming, and I was fine until you walked into the camera, and now my palms are sweating. I hate this. Please go. Okay. We, as Christians, if we are not prepared to suffer as Christ did and for Christ, Michaela, your mom just stressed me out so much, then we will be surprised when difficult things come, and we will feel betrayed by them. This is, when I counsel students, this is like one of the number one things that not only you, but like everyone has to wrestle with in their journey with Christ. You have to come up with an answer for this question, or your faith will have no basis. If God is good, why do bad things happen? Like, man, biblical scholars have been debating that since like the beginning of God, since the beginning of time, since the beginning of their relationship with him. They've been trying to figure that out. And there's a million answers. If we are not prepared for life to be hard, we'll be surprised by it. And then we'll feel betrayed by God for sending us difficult things. Everyday trials also fall into this. Like when we talk about 1 Peter, Peter's writing to these other Christians, and there's a whole lot of like, hey, you guys need to be prepared to be persecuted for Christ. They're going to hate you for following me. And that's true. But in this message also falls just your everyday stuff that sucks, like depression and anxiety and fights with your parents and your friends and feeling like you don't belong and not fitting in and feeling othered and lonely. And that fits in here too. And I know I hear a lot of you say that you're prepared to suffer for Christ. But are you prepared to just like suffer in general, seemingly for free? Are you prepared for just bad stuff? Because I hear so many times young Christians say to me, something terrible happened. Why would God do this to me? Why would he allow this to happen? And we have to be prepared to answer that for ourselves. He says in that verse, whoever has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin. has ceased from sin. Like, what does that mean? Are we supposed to just stop sinning? Are we supposed to just stop doing bad stuff and stop doing anything wrong and be perfect because we know Jesus? No, absolutely not. We do not become sinless and perfect when we decide to follow Jesus. Instead, we are free from the need for it. We are free from the need for sin. We are free from the idea that sin is going to fix anything within us. See, when you decide to follow Jesus, you set your life on a course with him, journeying with him. And that course takes you away from the comfort, the escape, the pleasures of sin, and toward the readiness to be uncomfortable and the tools to deal with it, the tools to deal with the hard things we will experience for the sake of Jesus. It's not that we're free from doing things wrong, because we still will. We'll still make mistakes. We're free from the hold that sin has over us. In 1 Peter 4:3 it says, "For the time that is past suffices for doing what the Gentiles want to do, living in sensuality, passions, drunkenness, orgies, drinking parties, and lawless idolatry." The time that is past is enough. The time that you spent in your sin, that was sufficient. We don't need to spend any more time in it. Sin's function in your life is to make life more comfortable. Every sin you can imagine, it's just a means to an end, trying to treat the wound that is being alive, because it's not easy. Sin functions to make life more comfortable, more tolerable, more pleasurable, but it's just like putting a Band-Aid over a gaping hole in the side of a boat. I use this analogy for service, and truly I think it's one of the best illustrations I've ever come up with in my life. Where are my water drinkers at? Who's like, I carry a hydro flask, I drink so much water? Not me. I freaking hate water. I think it's so gross. Water is gross. It just tastes like nothing. It's nasty. I would rather drink so many more delicious things. I love a vitamin water. I love juice. I like a little lemonade. I like coffee. That's bean water. I do not like water. And I spend a lot of my life trying to avoid drinking water. So much so I just went to the doctor and she was like, "How much water are you drinking a day?" And I was like, "I really like juice. Does that count?" She was like, "No, absolutely not." So as you can imagine, what do I get a lot of? Headaches. I get a lot of headaches, and I know they're because I'm dehydrated. And what do I do when I get a headache? I take an ibuprofen, and the headache goes away. And I feel so much better, and then I go back to drinking my little juicy juice. Now, what would solve my problem is actually drinking water. Somebody first service said I should just have an IV. I would love to. In a heartbeat, I would rather have an IV than actually drink water. It's so gross. I hate water more than I'm afraid of needles. That's how ridiculous. Ew. Oh, okay, yeah. Flavoring I'll do. I do take showers. It's in juice also. Just kidding. So I could drink water and solve my problem, but instead I'm taking like a acetaminophen with caffeine to just knock that headache right out, go on my merry way. But I haven't solved my problem. I'm just putting a Band-Aid fix over it. I'm just trying to patch the hole. And that is exactly, guys, this is literally the best illustration I've ever come up with in my life. This is exactly how sin functions in our lives. Because we have a saying in my house, life is short and terrible. Like, life is full of beauty and magic and miracles and love and wonderful things, but it's also just like generally terrible most of the time, right? Right? And sin's function in our life is to be that Band-Aid fix, to be the Tylenol when we have a headache, but really we need water. Because life is hard and long and difficult, and sin's function is to distract us from what can actually make us feel better, what can actually solve problems, and instead trick us into the Band-Aid fix that will just create more pain in the long run. when I was your age, when I was in high school, what's like the general consensus here? Like 15? In my mind, all of the students are just like probably 15. I don't know. You're all basically 15 in my head. When I was just a nondescript teenage age, life was hard. Like it was rough. It felt like this is the best way I could describe it. It felt like I was inside out and just like air hurt. Like everything hurt. I was such a sensitive kid. I was dealing with so much. My family life was not good. Not good, bad. My home life was chaotic. There was no stability. And I found some quick, easy fixes to try and patch the hole and deal with pain. And after some time, I looked around and I realized I had nobody left. I had alienated basically everyone I knew. By the time I was at college, I hadn't really solved any of my problems. I had only piled on some more trying to just cope. And I realized all my friends and family, like I had burned those bridges. And when I came out on the other side, I had a lot of amends to make. And I started looking for like anything to fill the gaping wound. And I went back to the only church I had ever known. And they said, okay, if you want to go to church here and you want to follow us, you need to stop drinking, stop smoking, stop using drugs, stop participating in sexual immorality, and get baptized. And I was like, great, I've already been baptized, so can't do that again. And I'm not ready to give up those things yet. For me, they were still filling the need. I did not feel strong enough to stand on my own. I was clinging so tight to what I thought could keep me afloat, and I was not ready to stand on my own 2 feet yet. And so I was like, oh, sorry, I guess can't go here. They said that. They were like, we can't help you then. So one of my friends invited me to a local Christian church. And first, what I found was community. I found friends, and I found a circle of people that were loving and accepting regardless of what I was going through. What I learned later was like they were just modeling Christ-like love to me, what I needed all along. And then I found that. Like I found the God of the Bible who is accepting and loving. And man, oh man, when I tell you I was so dehydrated, I was so dehydrated for any kind of purpose or meaning or acceptance, and what I found was literally living water. That's why they call it that. And when I tell you that I'm a whole new person now, are you laughing at me, Kellen? Pull yourself together.
He needs his phone paperwork.
When I tell you that I'm a whole different person now, like that Riley, I don't know her. She is not a good person. When I run into people I knew from high school, I am thoroughly embarrassed just because of what a terrible human being I was. And like that's the miracle of following Jesus. I don't know what's happening in the second row. You're psyching me out. Pull yourselves together. Let's get back into the word. 1 Peter 4:12 through 14. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. Do we do that? Listen, I think we can all agree. Raise your hand if you feel like life is just like a lot of terrible things one after the other. And then when the next terrible thing happens, we're like, this is unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened before. It was good up till now. No. But rejoice insofar as you share Christ's sufferings, that you may also rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed. If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. There are some hard things we have to confront in this passage. Peter says we are blessed in suffering, and we are called to rejoice. And if you are sitting here today and you're like in the middle of it, I fully believe that we're all going through something. Like everybody's dealing with something. But if you're in the middle of like the fight of your life, and I stand up here and I tell you, oh, you're so blessed for suffering and you need to rejoice. Like that is like a hammer over the head. That does not feel good. If you're in the middle of your anxiety, if you're in the middle of your depression, if you're in the middle of the loss of somebody, and I tell you that you're blessed and you should rejoice, like that is the last thing you want to hear. But what they're telling us is that in your suffering, you have an opportunity to reframe your perspective, to chart a new course, to lean on God. There are so many verses in this fantastic book right here. Is so chock full of encouragement for you, hopeful verses for you. Paul writes in like all of his epistles that he is so grateful for his suffering and grateful that other people are suffering because it forces them to lean on God. That is sin's function in our life, is that when we're going through something, which is pretty much all the time, we need something to lean on. And when you go through something hard, you have the opportunity to lean on God. You have the opportunity to reach out. If nothing bad ever happened to you and life was all sunshine and rainbows, then what would bring you closer to God? But the power in rejoicing in hard times, choosing to see yourself as blessed because you have an opportunity to lean on Him, is so powerful. We're forced to lean on God and not our convictions. The Sermon on the Mount, we know it. It's like all about like, blessed are you when you go through something tough. It's not promises that everything will go well. It says, blessed are the poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, when others persecute and revile you. His word, you guys, is full of nothing but encouragement in your suffering. Why? Why is it so important for God that you understand that you are blessed and that you can choose to rejoice in the hardest times of your life? He is literally begging you to see that He does not want you to be hurting. He is literally begging you to see that He doesn't allow these things to happen to hurt you, but instead to grow you, to bring you closer to Him. He's begging you to see why things happen in your life. I'm a firm believer that God does not cause the pain in our lives, but in His sovereignty, He allows it. Why? Because when trials and hardships happen, we have the opportunity to reach out to something bigger than ourselves, cling to something that can actually help, to take that drink of living water to quench the thirst. Guys, what is stopping you today from ceasing from sin? Ceasing from the need for it? Ceasing from trying to fill the void with things around you? Turning to what can actually help? What is stopping you from making the change? Because if at this point in your life you've not decided to follow, there's something standing in the way, a stumbling block. For me, it was that I did not think I was strong enough to stand on my own. I truly believed that if I did not have my vices, I wasn't going to make it. I was going to drown. But it's just like Peter stepping out on the water. The only thing that caused him to sink was his doubt. That's it. Peter goes on to say from verses 15 to 19, but let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or an evildoer or as a meddler. Yet if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name. For it is time for judgment to begin at the household of God. And if it begins with us, what will be the outcome for those who do not obey the gospel of God? And if the righteous is scarcely saved, what will become of the ungodly and the sinner? Therefore, let those who suffer according to God's will entrust their souls to a faithful Creator while doing good. See this for what it is. This is a plea. This is a plea to you from your God to accept His grace. He does not want us to face judgment. It says, let none of you suffer as a murderer or a thief or an evildoer. Let none of you pay the consequences for your sin. Let none of you face the debt that you occurred. Instead, accept the gift of grace. He is literally begging you because he does not want us to face punishment. He does not want us to face the skeletons that we put in our closet. He doesn't want us to face the punishment for sin he knew we would commit. Instead, he sent his son. He sent himself in human form, the Word made flesh, come to dwell among us. He went to the cross in the form of Jesus Christ because he looked at you and said, I still want you with me, even though you broke the rules, even though you did what you knew was wrong. He said, please, my most prized possession, let me save you. Guys, so many people, and it breaks my heart, have this view of the wrathful, spiteful God who just wants to send us all to hell, who only cares about what we do wrong. But that's not what this book is about. This book, from cover to cover, every word is him begging you to come home, is him pleading with you to just accept the gift of grace, is him showing you, I only wrote the law so you would know how much you need me. And a lot of you I've known for years and gone to camps and gone to youth groups, and I'm not going to assume to know your state of faith. It would be so easy to look out and be like, all of you have been here 100 times. We don't need to do it again today. But we're going to because it's so important. It's so important that we have that opportunity to accept the gift of grace so that we can cease from the things that have been filling the holes and instead choose living water, new life, regenerative spirit. So we're going to pray this prayer together. And if you have come to this place where what you're doing is not sufficing anymore, where the vices of the world are just not cutting it anymore, you feel like you're drowning, then this is your opportunity to choose grace, to choose new life, to choose a life raft. And there's no special words in this prayer, and that's my favorite part because I can't do it a justice. I'll mess it up every time. But if you are here today and you're ready to make a change and set your course towards him, then we're going to pray this prayer together. If everyone would just bow their heads with me and just accept this moment of reverence in his presence. God, thank you so much. Thank you for this gift because I know I could not have earned it on my own. I choose wrong. I do the wrong thing. I mess up time and time again when I know right from wrong. And I thank you that you help me see how much I need you. I thank you that even in my sin, you chose to save me. You chose to send your son to pay the debt that I incurred that I could never have paid myself. Today I choose to accept that gift. I choose to follow you. I ask for your forgiveness to make me new, to help me follow you from this day. God, send your spirit to dwell with us. God, speak new life into our lives. Help us to see ourselves as you created us, new, whole, clean. We love you and we thank you for sending this gift to us. Today we're ready to accept. If you prayed that prayer for the first time, I'm just going to ask you to show a moment of bravery with every head still bowed and eye closed, and just raise your hand so we can celebrate. Amen. God, thank you so much for bringing us together today, for giving us this word. I pray that you would instill it in our hearts, our minds, our lives, that we would go forward from today different, changed, made new. We love you and we thank you for this gift you've given us. We say these things in the name of your son. Amen. All right, y'all. Oh, wow. We just really ditched that pad quick. That was an ad? Okay. What was the ad for?
What if you could do SEO
Thank you
smarter
so much for
and
coming, you guys.
faster?
It's so good to see you. I love
With
seeing you
Wix,
every
you can
week.
edit your meta tags
Come
page
back.
by
If
page
you're
all
dealing
in
with
one
any of those things we talked about today and you just need somebody to journey alongside you, you need some community and support, the Landing is your spot. Every Tuesday, 6:30 6:30 to 8:30. I'm there every week. I don't know why. I always forget. If you have any questions about Jesus, God, the Bible, life in general, you can hang back and ask a leader, or you can DM them to the students' Instagram page, and we will answer them in church on the 10th. It is so good to see you guys. I love you so much. Goodbye forever.